Donald Trump is holed up at Mar-a-Lago, a gilded bubble of marble floors, chandeliers, and self-congratulation, and every day his online outbursts reveal a man completely detached from the reality Americans are living in. While millions of families are struggling to afford rent, groceries, and basic necessities, Trump spends his time posting glossy photos of renovated rooms, gold-trimmed furniture, and polished marble, like a cartoon oligarch desperate to prove his own importance. Instead of governing, he is branding. Instead of solving problems, he is posing for the internet. And it would almost be funny if it weren't so disturbing. Trump's social media feeds have become a shrine to himself. Endless images of Mar-a-Lago interiors, bragging about luxury upgrades, and even sharing charts meant to show how great the economy supposedly is under him. But those same graphs reveal the truth he's trying to hide, that prices actually dropped under President Biden and are now rising again. Even when Trump tries to lie, the data gives him away. This obsession with image over substance has spilled into foreign policy, where the White House propaganda machine is now selling military strikes like a marketing campaign. Trump and his allies are pushing a story that he bombed ISIS in Nigeria to save Christians, as if war were a feel-good Christmas movie. Trump even told Politico that he wanted to brand these attacks as a Christmas strike, turning acts of war into holiday-themed slogans. But Nigeria is not a prop in Trump's branding exercise. The situation there is complicated, involving multiple extremist groups, including Boko Haram and ISIL-affiliated organizations that have killed Muslims and Christians alike. Trump's narrative that this is a simple religious crusade is false, and dangerously so. What Nigeria actually represents to his administration is something far more cynical, a country rich in oil and lithium, resources that Trump's political and financial allies are eager to control. While Trump preens in Palm Beach, the world burns. In Ukraine, Russian forces continue launching brutal missile and drone strikes against Kiev and other cities, killing civilians and destroying infrastructure. And instead of standing clearly with a democratic nation under attack, Trump has chosen this moment to go after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, trying to undermine him before an upcoming meeting in the Mar-a-Lago area. Zelensky, meanwhile, is doing what real leaders do, proposing a serious framework for peace. His plan is straightforward and democratic, a 60-day ceasefire in eastern Ukraine, followed by a free and fair vote where the people in those regions can decide whether they want to be part of Ukraine or Russia. It's a solution rooted in self-determination, transparency, and international law. That proposal puts Trump and Vladimir Putin in an uncomfortable spotlight. If they truly cared about the will of the people, they would support a ceasefire and a vote. Instead, they are pushing for Ukraine to surrender territory outright, without any democratic process. Zelensky's plan exposes their real agenda, not peace, but domination. Trump made his position clear when he told Politico that Zelensky doesn't have anything until I approve it. In Trump's mind, Ukraine's future depends not on Ukrainians, or even on Europe, but on what pleases him and Putin. Politico even noted that the way Trump frames negotiations suggests Ukraine must give up land to satisfy a president who seems more interested in appeasing Russia than defending democracy. But Ukraine's future does not belong to Trump. It belongs to Ukrainians and to a Europe that has been standing firm in defense of sovereignty and freedom. Zelensky's willingness to negotiate without surrendering, to allow voters to decide rather than dictators, is exactly what a democratic leader should do. As Trump's political world crumbles, he has turned increasingly paranoid and angry over another scandal that refuses to go away: Jeffrey Epstein. Trump has been raging online about the discovery of more than 1.2 million additional pages of Epstein-related documents, calling it a Democrat-inspired hoax and demanding that the Department of Justice stop investigating. He wants the government to drop scrutiny of Epstein and instead chase imaginary election conspiracies. This panic didn't come out of nowhere. Federal prosecutors have acknowledged that at least 1.22 million pages of Epstein material exist in the Southern District of New York. For years, Trump's allies demanded to see the Epstein client list. Now that evidence is emerging, the same movement is suddenly desperate to bury it. So people are asking the obvious questions. Why is Trump so eager to make this go away? Why are MAGA politicians now shielding a case involving one of the largest child sex trafficking networks in modern history? What exactly happened when Trump and Epstein partied with models who were barely old enough to be adults? These are not partisan questions, they are moral ones. Anyone fighting this hard to keep names secret is not protecting victims, they are protecting predators. And while all this unfolds, Trump continues to fill his administration with people chosen not for expertise, but for loyalty and image. One of the most surreal examples is Maura Nabder, a beauty salon owner from Texas, now placed in a powerful position influencing visas and asylum decisions. Nabder built her brand on Parisian heaven in Dallas aesthetics and $45 blowouts. Now she helps determine who is allowed to seek safety in the United States. This is what governance looks like under Trump. Cronyism dressed up as glamour, life and death decisions made by people whose primary qualification is proximity to his orbit. Even the culture surrounding MAGA has grown darker. Republican politicians have taken to posting violent images during Christmas, then mocking anyone who objects. Indiana GOP leader Chris Garton, for example, shared photos of himself beating up Santa Claus, then sneered at critics, all while his party continues to scream about a supposed war on Christmas. As commentator Brian Tyler Cohen has pointed out, everything with this movement is a confession. They accuse others of what they themselves are doing. They claim to defend tradition while turning holidays into spectacles of cruelty and rage. Meanwhile, Zelensky is working with European leaders like German Chancellor Friedrich Merz to keep the continent united. He has thanked Germany for its unwavering support and emphasized that cooperation has already saved thousands of lives. He has also made clear that Ukraine will not surrender its future just to please an authoritarian ego in Mar-a-Lago. That is the real contrast of this moment. Trump stewing in marble-lined isolation, obsessed with branding, grudges, and cover-ups, while Democratic leaders fight for peace, accountability, and the right of people to choose their own destiny. And that is why independent journalism and commentary matter more than ever. The truth doesn't live in Trump's gold-plated posts. It lives in exposing corruption, defending democracy, and refusing to look away. If you want more coverage that calls out Trump, Putin, and every enabler of this authoritarian circus, make sure to support the voices doing that work. Stay informed, stay engaged, and never let spectacle replace the truth.